This is ENTV with your reporters. I'm Lucy.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I'm Andy. Today we are discussing the national well-known case of the decade, which is the graduate student ex-girlfriend homicide, and the idea of a rehabilitation behind similar cases.
Today we have invited two guests to discuss this topic with us, criminology professor Graham Chen of Zhongzheng University and media specialist Brian Huang.
Good afternoon, I'm Graham Chen.
Thank you for having me. I'm Brian Huang.
So we all know that the story of the homicide. An NTU graduate student assaulted his ex-girlfriend for 47 times to death because she left him due to his domestic violence.
That's right. The incident itself has already established clearly. However, what we're focusing on today is the second instance of the case prosecution. In the first trial, the convict was sentenced to life imprisonment. But in the second instance, his crime was sentenced to a deduction of less than 22 years. What do you think of this?
Supposedly, a murderer with a clear criminal intention would be sentenced to life imprisonment according to Taiwan's law. However, in this case, it was reported that the two parties had come to a negotiation and the victim's family would receive a compensation of around 140 million Taiwan dollars. Therefore, the murderer's sentence would be reduced.
Nonetheless, it is inhuman to the victim's family. $114 million. He won't finish paying it until almost 70 years later. If he's only going to pay it at a rate of 10,000 per month, and the money will be received only if he works. But how will he have worked with this kind of criminal record?
Well, what's even more unacceptable is he's sentenced to 22 years, but with probation. He will most likely be out in around 10 years.
This is absolutely unacceptable. Issues of the death penalty are already controversial enough, but when it comes to cruel crimes such as this one, there should be no negotiation. What do you think about it, Brian?
There are many more cases that end similarly with this incident. Cruel murderers are not sentenced to the time they deserve to serve in prison. The people behind the execution of their sentences all state the importance and possibility of rehabilitation.
What rehabilitation? Aren't their murder intentions clear enough? The cruelty of how they deprived others of their life and freedom can't be neglected.
Well, the crimes of those murderers are irrefutable. However, the purpose of rehabilitation in punishment is to reform criminal offenders into functioning members of society. For instance, I remember there is a case in America which is about a man named John Velverd who shot his girlfriend to death, but turned out to be a CEO.
Whoa.
During his life in prison, John didn't wallow. Instead, he studied very hard, really hard, and got a master's degree. He even taught his inmates to read. Moreover, he became an AIDS consultant.
Whoa, impressive.
Yeah, really impressive. Finally, in 2008, he was released on parole and worked for a prisoner's foundation. And at present, he's now, John is now 47 years old, and he's also a CEO of Youth Build.
But according to reports, we've also received news of the murderer's family background. It is said that in his childhood, he lived under domestic violence, and he also tested positive results of strong isolation personality, resulting in a strong sense of control of others. We also know that he has a skeptical personality, having the tendency to check his ex-girlfriend's location, phone, and even purchasing receipts.
Such behaviors explain that his isolated and insecure personality, which could be considered as rational factors of mitigate sentence. Normally, if the judge believes that aggravating and mitigating factors have equivalent impact in a felony case, then the judge would have to impose an appropriate sentence. And in this case, a milder sentence is still probable.
Thanks for sharing, Professor. Death penalty in Taiwan is not really conducted fully, and I believe most of the country are not either. Now, people will fly into rage about the reason of the mitigation rehabilitation, because it has happened so many times. But there is a question. After all, we are human, not God. It is easy to sentence a person to death, but what about the responsibility? Who is going to take this responsibility? Coming back later, we will be talking about dinosaur judges. Don't go away, we will be right back.